Are we on?
I guess so.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 13 of Big Mouth Woolly Bass Podcast. I'm Ryan Willis.
I'm Matt Willis.
Yeah. So we haven't recorded, Matt, since June 11th, I believe.
It's been a hot minute.
So it's been a little over a month. Hope everyone's doing well. Haven't talked to you or seen you in a while. And yes, we are still recording off of Podbean. For how much longer, I'm not sure. I just have been too lazy. I haven't canceled our subscription on there yet. So if you do listen to us on Podbean, which I think is only one of you, you might want to start making the switch over onto YouTube because Podbean will be going bye-bye here pretty soon.
You know who you are. You know who you are.
Yeah. Or do they? Maybe they don't.
Maybe it's just a bot.
It could be. We got a lot of bots on YouTube. Hi, Mr. Bots.
We don't want to be friends with you bots.
Yeah. You want to be friends? Love your content, man. No. So, what's been going on with us? Well, not a whole lot. We did take a week up to Big Bear a couple weeks ago. So, we were doing that, just hanging out. And then other than that, we have just been working our buns off.
Yeah.
And our schedules have just been completely all over the place. They have not been lining up. So, we haven't really had any time.
This is the first day off we've had since... I don't even remember. Probably the last time we recorded. The last time we recorded.
Well, we were off together for Big Bear.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we were actually home.
Yeah.
And not, sober.
We were thinking about actually recording a show up in Big Bear, but for one reason or another, I can't put my finger on it, but we just didn't have the time.
Or the patience.
And we may have been slightly intoxicated during the entire week, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're all adults here. I mean,
we were just having fun, life's old stuff. And other than that, I am taking 2 summer classes right now, so just to add to my misery and the busyness of my life. Yeah, so just too much going on. But we're going to try to, kind of get back into the swing of things here, record maybe a show, at least once a week or at least every other week if we can. I mean, it'd be kind of nice to keep this going.
And as we always mentioned before, if you have any ideas, type it in right now for us.
Well, we've got a couple ideas on tap.
We do. We have a couple of ideas that we're going to try to churn out in the coming weeks.
We're not that desperate.
But still, we want feedback either for today's video, videos in the past, future video ideas. You want me to do a challenge or something? You want me to do like 100 push-ups or something? I'll do it for you.
Him, not me, but him.
I am dedicated to make this channel something.
That would be entertaining. Yes, we always appreciate any feedback, guys. So please drop us a line. We would appreciate it. And if you'd like to join our program at some point in the future, let us know. I'm sure we can think of something to talk about.
We can do a live feed from work.
Another thing we were thinking about doing a couple nights ago is we actually closed together at our job, and we were thinking about recording a show from the cart barn, but we worked like a 10-hour day. We were so exhausted.
So we're flexible.
We decided against it, but looking back now, I kind of wish we would have. I think it would have been interesting.
We got plenty of time in the future.
Maybe one of these days when we're working together again, we'll record a show and get some of the members on. That'll be entertaining.
Yes.
All right, so what are we talking about on this week's show? Well, as most of you know, I think anyway, Matt and I are huge sports fans, and we have had nothing to talk about sports related for months. That is finally changing. Why? Because baseball is back. Well, sort of. It's coming back in a couple weeks. The first games I should say, July 23rd. So that's 2 weeks from now, just about. Yanks versus the Nats and Giants versus the Dodgers. So we got baseball returning. The teams are going to be playing in their own stadiums. They're not going to be doing the whole Arizona idea we were kicking around a couple months ago where they're like, oh yeah, everybody will be secluded in Arizona. They can't go anywhere. No, they're actually going to be still traveling to different ballparks to play these games, but obviously there will not be any fans. Yeah. So we will be diving into baseball talk today. Probably the next episode we'll be talking about the NBA because the NBA is also coming back. Go Lakers!
Yeah.
So we finally got sports to talk about. We're very excited. I hope you are as well because I think another reason, Matt, we kind of stopped recording for a few weeks is because the last episode we did tanked. We got hardly any views for episode number 12. So hopefully we'll get some of our sports followers back.
We need to be more controversial. That's the thing.
I feel like we are. I mean, we always say something stupid.
Hey, if you haven't checked out that video, switch out this video now and check out episode 12.
Or they can continue watching this one and then go back to it.
Or do both, because I actually thought that episode was pretty funny.
Well, says you. Yeah, we're hilarious. Just ask us.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're the big mouths, man.
We are. We're back at it, baby. So, Matt, as far as our San Diego Padres go, their first game back in action will be July 24th, and they're going to be home against the Arizona D-Bags, the Diamondbacks. And as I mentioned, all the teams are going to be playing in their own ballparks, which I think will be nice. No fans. But instead of the usual very long and drawn out 162 game regular season schedule, they will only be playing 60 games.
Yeah.
And really, like, what, a 2 or 3 month span, essentially?
You're going to be cranking games out.
Very few days off, but I mean, come on. These guys have had, 7 or 8 months off total. I mean, I know they went to spring training for a few weeks, but if you take that out, I mean, the off season and the few months.
They got a slight sweat.
Yeah, they've had a lot of time off, so I think they can handle it. But yeah, it's just a 60 game schedule, which honestly I'm excited about, because even though I love baseball, I have, for the longest time, been clamoring for them to shorten the season. 162 games, in my opinion, is just way too long. I don't care if you're the biggest diehard fan out there. It's just such a long season. And it gives all these teams, like the powerhouses, opportunities to go on these 10-game losing streaks during the middle of the year, and it basically doesn't mean anything because, well, we got 152 other games to make up for it. So at least in this format, there's going to be a lot of pressure, mostly on the really good teams, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the cheating Astros. They're going to have a lot of pressure on them to get off to a hot start right out of the gates. Because if they come out scuffling, 10 games below 500 after the first, 30 games, well, they only got 30 more games to make up for it, and they could have a couple other teams that all of a sudden have caught lightning in the bottle, and they're playing way over their heads, but it doesn't really matter because if they can just stay the course, maybe hover around 500, they might get in because of a hot start. So it's going to really make things very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely going to be more exciting, I think, because, that typical Tuesday night game, it has a lot more, it has a lot more impact for the rest of the year. It's not just, there's not like 20 more. There's only, a handful. So,
all these games will actually mean something now.
I mean, you could have a team like the Baltimore Orioles, perhaps. Or Orioles, excuse me, not Oreos.
The Cookies? They might as well be called that.
Not my bad. But yeah, a team like the Tigers, the Orioles,
The Royals.
The Miami Tuna Fish, wrong sport. The Miami Marlins, I guess they could be the Tuna Fish too.
They could be, yeah.
But yeah, a lot of these unknown teams that were planning on sucking this year, they might actually have a shot.
And I feel like these teams that we wouldn't expect anything from are going to be even more motivated because it's like, why wouldn't we give it our all and try to make something happen in a shortened season and knock off some of the big guns? I mean, this is our chance to shine. Speaking of which, because I wanted to get into what teams, Matt, could potentially benefit the most from this shortened season. And I believe, not to be biased or anything, but I think the team that potentially could benefit the most is...
No way.
Our San Diego Padres.
No way. I don't buy that.
Think about it, Matt. Last year, they were at 500 at the All-Star break.
That's true.
So about 80 games in, they were right at 500. And I believe, I was trying to find out what their record was through 60 games last year. I wasn't able to do it. I'm just not smart enough, I guess.
Or you didn't want to take the time to do it.
I was looking it up. I couldn't find it. I was looking in the wrong places, apparently. But I want to say they were either, above 500 or they were at least hovering around 500 through 60 games last year, which means in theory, if they would have done this 60-game schedule last year, they would have been right in the thick of the playoff race.
Yeah, they would have only been a few games back for the wild card for sure.
Right. And we obviously know what happened in the second half of last year. They just completely tuckered out. And they made that trade, the Franmil Reyes trade of the Indians, which just completely demoralized the team chemistry. I mean, I know everybody always says that chemistry is overrated, but I'll tell you, when they traded Fran Mill, you could tell that something changed in that
Yeah.
clubhouse. They went from fun-loving, singing songs pregame, all these different handshakes with Manny Machado, to all of a sudden just no energy. Like the spirit was just sucked right out of them after that trade. I can't explain it. And then, Fernando Tatis, of course, went down with his injury that kept him out for the rest of the year. Just a terrible second half. Basically
Yeah,
a
it's awful.
typical San Diego Padres season in a nutshell, really.
Yeah.
So I believe they're going to benefit from this shortened season. Maybe it will light a fire under them. Hey, we came out of the gates great last year and then completely fell apart. We need to prove that we're not like that. We're much better than how we played to end last season. They did add a couple pitchers that I'm really excited about. Zach Davies from the Milwaukee Brewers. And, of course, they brought back our old buddy Drew Pomerantz
For All-Star.
to handle the seventh inning. And then we got Emilio Pagan, did I say that correctly,
Yes.
from the Tampa Bay Rays. Great setup, man. And then we got Kirby Big Game Yates. Yater's going to Yate.
Best closer in baseball.
Yeah, so the Padres bullpen is in solid shape. And again, like I mentioned, they added Davies for the starting rotation. They got Dinelson Lamet, tremendous upside. If he can just stay healthy, I really feel like he could be a number 2, number 3 type of pitcher. They've got Chris Paddock, of course, who we all believe is going to be their future ace. He might even kind of take over that role this year. We'll see. And who am I forgetting, man? They got Joey Lucchesi coming back, who, not a bad, mid-tier to back-end rotation.
He's still young, too. Though.
Yeah, he's still a young pitcher. I still feel like he's got some promise to him. And then they got Garrett Richards,
Yes.
the old wily veteran, who honestly I'm not too thrilled about. I don't think he's, even in a 60-game schedule, maybe he's going to even make it. But that's what I'm saying. Guys that are usually more injury-prone might actually have a chance of staying healthy for this whole entire season because it's only 60 games. Fernando Tatis, same thing. He was battling all kinds of different injuries last year. So maybe a shortened season will help him out as well. So I really feel like the Padres can definitely benefit from this as long as they get off to a hot start.
Yeah.
But that's a big if, because typically the Padres just suck the first month or two of the regular season.
Yeah, last month was the opposite, though, but...
Last year, yeah.
Or last month, yeah, excuse me.
So, we'll see. But I'm just saying, like, if they can get off to at least a decent start, it will give some of those younger guys the motivation and maybe the inspiration. Like, yeah, we can do this, guys.
Well, I mean, I hope you're right, for sure, because, I'm also a Padres fan. Did not wear the hat this time. But, yes, I'm diehard.
Not a true fan.
But, I don't have them making the playoffs, though.
What?
Yeah,
Come on. World Series.
I think they're probably going to finish in a solid 4th place like they do every year.
Aww. At least it's not last.
I just don't see it.
Well, man, I forgot to mention one other thing about this shortened season. Universal DH. The DH is in the National League.
Good.
So the Padres will not have to send their lousy pitchers to the plate to strike out, watching 3 balls go right down the middle of the plate.
Yeah.
They can actually use a designated hitter, which is going to be perfect because they got a couple guys in particular that I think of right off the top of my head. Will Myers and Josh Naylor, who are terrible defensively, really no matter where you put them on the field. Now you can put them in the DH spot. It's perfect. They get their at-bats still without having to actually put them out on the field. They're a liability out there.
I know a lot of people say that, the traditionalists, I guess I'll call them, they kind of wish that pitchers were still batting. But, I mean, aside from Bumgarner, what other pitchers are good at hitting?
Yeah.
Like, there's no point. I mean, I guess it's
also
also
a few, but
it's like a strategizing, I guess, too. And I could understand that perspective a little bit, too. But
the double shifts and whatnot.
But at the same time, though, I mean, putting the ball in play, that's way more exciting than just a 3-pitch strikeout.
That's what we need, especially nowadays in baseball, because baseball is not as popular as it probably should be right now. And I think it's because, it's a combination of many things.
I do think that the 60-game season will bring popularity as far as the ratings go.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like the ratings are going to be through the roof this year.
Because like I said, every game's going to actually mean something now.
Yeah.
Because you don't have much room for error. But yeah, I'm really excited about the DH, Matt. I mean, for the longest time, I was against the National League adopting the DH, but the older I get, the more I'm like, yeah, honestly, it doesn't really make much sense for one league, the American League, to have it and the National League doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it should just be a level playing field throughout baseball. Like, does the NFL do weird stuff like that? No. Does the NHL do that? No. Just freaking make it, like, either both leagues have it or both leagues don't have it. That's how it should be. But I think there should be a DH because it prolongs certain careers. And again, there's just certain players that are terrible no matter where you put them on the field, but they have a tremendous bat. Yep. And this allows you to just put them out there every day in that spot.
Oh yeah, it's gonna make careers go longer. Like,
absolutely.
Players like Jose Bautista might come back.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about him. Does Big Papi want to come back? Oh wait, he retired.
He already was a DH.
He already was. So Matt, I wanted to ask you and kind of dive into this for a couple of minutes, but the fact that there's not going to be fans. I saw a video a few days ago, I think it was at Wrigley, and they were playing a simulated game or whatever, and I forget who it was, but they hit a home run, and they started pumping in crowd noise, and they were playing music and everything. So I want to get your thoughts. What do you think? How is it going to be watching a game on TV with literally no fans in the ballpark, and they're just going to be pumping in noise? They're still going to be playing the music. They're probably still going to have the organist. So what do you think that's going to be like?
Oh, God. I think it sucks because, of course, we love sports, but, I love, the aspect of fans, obviously. So I think it's a bummer for sure because seeing a home run being hit to empty stadiums is just, it's pretty.
The Rays and the Marlins know a lot about that. Sorry, I had to say it.
Yeah, I mean, or Petco Park on a Wednesday afternoon, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll be the first to criticize our own fan base.
But I feel like at some point, maybe towards the later part of the year, we might get used to it to an extent. Mm-hmm. But the first month for sure is just gonna be like, God, I hate this.
Honestly, I don't think it's gonna be that big of it. It's gonna be weird, definitely. The first couple weeks, but I think we'll get used to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it will mostly hurt once postseason rolls around.
Yeah.
Because I think the MLB postseason atmosphere, I think, in my opinion, is probably the best of any sport, even NBA or NFL. There's just so much intensity inside the ballpark for a World Series game or even just a playoff game.
Yeah.
And that aspect is going to be gosh,
that will suck. I agree with you there, absolutely.
But like I said, I do think that as this season goes on, we probably will get more used to it, or at least, we can tolerate it, I guess we can say. But
and it comes down to what we've been saying really all year, is that any baseball is better than nothing.
Yeah.
And just the fact they're going to be playing in their actual ballparks, I think is cool, because I was afraid they were going to just restrict everybody to one place like Arizona, which I wasn't really behind.
Or go to Disney World.
Oh, yeah, Orlando, where the NBA's going. So, yeah, I agree, Matt. It's definitely going to suck come postseason time. It's definitely probably not going to feel the same. But, we're human beings. We adapt. I think we'll make it work. And like I said, anything's better than nothing, as long as we got something to talk about.
Well, that's why I also said that the ratings, I think, for TV are just going to be...
Oh, of course.
They're going to be through the roof. Because the NFL draft, for instance, that wasn't even an actual game. That was just a sporting event. But their ratings were the highest ever by far. So
I mean, you're gonna have a lot of diehard baseball fans that normally would have season tickets that are obviously going to be watching. So that's just going to add to the ratings. But yeah, I agree. And what you said earlier about people just being more interested in general, because the games are going to mean more.
People who are just more on the fence fans,
or
just your casual fans, they'll be a bit more invested.
And just morbid curiosity, really. Let me see what this is going to look like with no fans. Losers, just...
And the people that are still trapped at home,
Right.
So...
Exactly. So I think they'll make it work. Honestly, I'm not too sure how I feel about the pumped-in crowd noise. I think that's a little lame, but... It is what it is. I mean, if that helps the players, I guess, get a little bit more pumped up, then sure, go for it. Are they going to also pump in, an audio of a vendor selling hot dogs? Hot dogs! Peanuts! Cracker Jacks!
Hey, I'm okay with that as long as they don't play, too ridiculously loud.
Like Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
That's good. That's the one I'm most intrigued by because Dodger Stadium just blasts their music.
I actually love that though. I mean, I hate the Dodgers. Don't get me wrong, but like
You better.
I do like that atmosphere there, but I don't. The old people don't like it, but but
like I was saying, I think I mentioned it. Maybe I didn't. I can't remember now. But the bad teams, Matt, they're going to be the ones that have a legit shot.
yeah.
And they're the ones that I'm going to be most interested in paying attention to. Because
Well,
literally, this is completely up for grabs. It's not like a normal season where it's like, okay, the freaking Kansas City Royals are, 15-5 right now to start the season. But we all know, come September, they're going to be 30 games out of the division
Do you
race.
remember last year the Seattle Mariners got off to a big start?
Yeah, and they completely fell apart.
But teams like that would have a shot in this case.
And that's exciting because baseball needs that. They need, better competition, parity. The NFL always says, oh, we got parity, even though I think that's a bunch of bullshit. But baseball definitely needs more of that parity because you have about, 10 teams that are either great or, pretty solid, and then the rest are just mediocre or terrible.
Yeah.
And that's just not a good product.
Well, usually every year is about one surprise team that actually makes it.
Yeah, I mean, you always get your surprise
but
like you would with any league.
Yeah, but there's that chance that it might be 2, 3, maybe even 4 teams this year that, they pull something out of the hat,
Rabbit out of a hat. Or rabbit out of your head, as Jason Witten said on Monday Night Football a couple years ago.
Zing!
But, man, it's funny because I wrote in the notes here that I feel like younger teams would benefit from the shortened season. But now that I'm thinking about it, I actually feel like it's going to be the opposite. I feel like the older teams are going to benefit more because it's less games. It's less wear and tear on their bodies.
Well, I feel like some teams, like some younger teams are going to benefit and some older teams are going to benefit, but it might be because because you can say in one hand, like, a younger or an older team, for instance, well, they have less games, so durability, it shouldn't be as big of an issue. But at the same time, if they are older, then, it might not matter. They might still get hurt. They might not have been in shape this entire time they've been out.
Yeah, but there's going to be several cases of that. And you got quite a few players that are opting to not to play at all.
Yeah.
Like David Price, Ryan Zimmer. There's a couple other players that you read off to me earlier.
Yeah, Buster Posey.
That's a pretty big name. I mean, I know he's not quite the same player he once was, but still, that's a big name guy that's deciding not to play. Felix Hernandez, who's now on the Braves, has opted out. So that's another whole dynamic to this that will be interesting.
Or if I hate to say it, but it's just the reality, but, a player might get COVID. So,
and if that happens, what are they going to do? And what happens if multiple players on every team starts coming down with it?
Yeah.
I don't see how they're going to be able to finish the season.
Yeah.
Oh, my wife's calling me.
We put on it there.
Let me get this real quick. Hello? Hi, sweetie. I'm doing our show right now.
You're on the air.
That's okay. Is everything okay? Oh, okay. All right, love you. Bye. I guess you didn't read my text.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I think the viewers enjoyed that.
And it looks like we just lost our recording on Podbean.
Hey, nobody listens to it anyway. What difference does it make?
What the heck, man? Oh, that's a bummer. So I guess it just automatically stops.
That's pretty
when
stupid.
You answer a phone call. Well,
if there's a bot from Podbean watching this on YouTube right now, you gotta adjust that.
Well, I guess more reason to get rid of Podbean. Jeez, man. Well, I don't think it matters anyway. But anyway, so what were we talking about? So we were talking about the dynamic between older teams and younger teams.
I don't think it'll really matter. I just think that for some teams they'll get that benefit if they are younger, but for some other younger teams they will struggle. Because there's so many layers and aspects and so many things that can happen. Like, I don't think it... I do think that a team like, the Orioles or the Royals, they might... I mean, I'm not picking them to go to the playoffs, but they might have at least a somewhat
They'll
of a
at least
shot,
probably keep it interesting. At least you would hope. Give the fans at least some glimmer of hope that they might actually do something for a change.
Yeah, but...
I mean, we can relate to that because we're Padre fans. I mean, we're just begging for any sort of success here. And we've been joking about the fact that, oh, now that it's a shortened season and there's going to be no fans, this will be the year the Padres actually do something and make it to the World Series or something.
Yeah, they'll win the World Series because, we can't celebrate. There'll be no parade.
Well, I mean, we can still celebrate in our own special way.
I mean, we can record it
Bottoms up.
Record us in the living room, but, no parade, or we won't be going to any games, so.
We can do a drive-by parade like what they've been doing for the high school graduates.
That's sad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that would be. But again, it's baseball.
So, Ryan, I must ask, do you have any bold predictions for this season? Or?
Yeah, I did my pointless, meaningless, absolute asinine World Series prediction that nobody should take seriously. I have the Houston Astros,
really
making it back for a third straight year, and here's a couple reasons why. For one, they still have a pretty good roster. I know they just lost Garrett Cole, which is obviously a huge subtraction, one of the best pitchers in baseball, but the nucleus of that team is still intact for one more year at least anyway. They still got Springer. They still have their shortstop, who I'm drawing a blank
Correa. Altuve, Correa.
They still have Altuve. They still have Verlander. So they still have the core group there. And I think because they're not going to have to deal with the backlash that they certainly were, going to have to be dealing with this year during a normal season of just fans just rioting and just yelling everything in the book.
Throwing beer bottles at them.
Yeah, I mean, they were going to be dealing with all sorts of madness this season. So just the fact they're not going to have to deal with that anymore. I mean, they're still going to have to deal with, opposing teams probably throwing at them a lot.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
There's probably still going to be some brawls, but, I mean, come on. That I'm sure they can handle. So I really feel like, they're going to rally together. And I know that usually, I mean, just to get back to 2 straight World Series is hard enough, let alone 3. But
correction, they didn't make it in 18, but they made it in 17.
Oh, correct, right. Yeah. But, I mean...
2 and 3 years.
Yeah, point being, they've been, right there the last couple of years. So I feel like because, again, no fans, a shortened season, they're going to be able to make something happen. And also they have Dusty Baker as their manager. And old man Dusty has always gotten the most out of his teams. And he's walking into a pretty good situation there in Houston. So I just feel like the Astros, even though I would hate to see it, are going to make it back. And then I have the Milwaukee Brewers making it in the National League. They've been kind of knocking on the door the last couple of years. Last year, wasn't quite as good as the year before, but they got Christian Yelich back, the MVP.
Stud.
He's a great player. He's really busted out ever since he went to the Brewers. They have a great bullpen, of course, with Josh Hader. So I just feel like it's the Brewers' time. I think they're going to break through this year. So that's my prediction. I'll go ahead and say the Brewers won it all.
Really? Okay.
Milwaukee. Celebrate.
I would be down for that because they've never won a World Series.
There you go.
A new team. And
the Nationals, they won it last year, and that was the first time Washington had won a World Series since what, the 30s or something like that?
30s or 40s. When
they were the Senators.
Yeah. That would be cool because, if Christian Yelich actually, becomes the MVP again for the regular season or becomes the World Series MVP, he's going to become legendary territory just like that.
He's a legend!
He's going to be, right below Trout or maybe even close to his tier, but,
Oh, yeah. If he keeps that. The problem with Yelich is that he always seems to have some type of devastating injury.
Yeah, he's
every other year. So you just hope and pray that he can actually stay healthy. Again, 60-game schedule might benefit from that.
Yeah.
Should benefit from that. So what do you got for me? What do you got for predictions?
Well, we were talking about surprise teams, right?
Yeah.
I think the Cincinnati Reds are going to be really good this year.
I've been hearing that a lot.
Yeah,
a lot of people seem to be high on.
They have a young nucleus, not Euclid. Speech impediment. But no.
Talking about Kevin Euclid.
Yeah, I guess. But no, I really like what the Reds are doing there. They got a lot of young pieces. Their pitching rotation, they were pretty bad for a couple of years, but they kept going with the same young people, and they've been getting better and better. So
and they traded for the Indians pitcher. Trevor Bauer, who's kind of a nutcase, but man, can he pitch?
Yeah, it's true. They also still got old man Votto. He did have a bit of a down year last year, but he's still He still gets on base all the time, and I think he'll have a bounce back year.
Always high on base percentage with that guy.
So that's my big surprise. I also have the New York Mets making the playoffs.
The Mets.
Because they were the hottest team in the second half last year by far.
They were.
If they actually got in the playoffs, they may have ran the table, believe it or not.
I mean, you got to love their pitching staff.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Syndergaard. They traded for the Blue Jays pitcher.
Marcus Stroman.
And they still have
Cespedes.
Why am I drawing a blank on these guys? It's probably because we haven't watched baseball in so long.
Yeah, it has been a while.
The guy used to have the shaggy hair.
Shaggy hair.
Because they got Syndergaard. Who's the other? DeGrom.
Oh.
Jacob DeGrom. He's still there. So, yeah, I mean, they got a impeccable pitching staff there.
Well, I mostly have the Mets getting the playoffs because I think the Nats are going to... I think they're going to regress this year. Yeah, I know it's kind of a bold statement. A lot of people think they might have a chance to go back-to-back.
I feel like if it was going to be a normal season, I could see that. But I think just because they've had so much time off to kind of recover from winning the World Series, I feel like they're going to be okay. I mean, they still have Mad Max and Strasburg.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything away from their run last year. I mean, they deserved that championship and then some. They played unbelievable baseball, but I just think that maybe, with anything, there was some luck involved with them winning it all. Like, the ball did bounce their way.
Well, plus they got off to a terrible start last year. So if they do that again this season, there ain't going to be no playoffs in Washington.
They also lost Anthony Rendon. And as you already mentioned, Ryan Zimmerman, he's not going to be playing either.
Yeah, he opted out. And he was actually pretty huge for them in the postseason last year and World Series.
But, yeah, that's one of my other bold predictions. As far as the World Series goes, I have the Atlanta Braves in the National League. They were one of the best teams in baseball last year. One of our viewers will be happy to see that. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Miller time. Yeah, he loves the Braves.
Yeah.
Big Braves fan.
So I have the Atlanta Braves going against the Cleveland Indians.
Oh,
so that's also a surprise, too, the Indians.
Yeah. Because the Indians, since they went to the World Series back in, 16, they have really fallen off the map.
Well, they still have been very good, though, because
they've been competitive.
In 17, they had like a 20-plus game win streak and, won the division. 18, they also won the division. In 19, last year, they won 90 games but still missed the playoffs, so they were still competitive. But,
that's true.
I think with the Indians is similar to the Dodgers. They have a team that's like, how much more time do they have together, to be able to pull it off. And Francisco Lindor, I believe, is on his last year of his contract.
I think so, yeah.
If he's not, he only has 2 years left, but I'm pretty sure it's his last year.
And they did trade Bauer, as we just mentioned, so they don't have that ace.
Yeah, but
Clevinger's pretty damn good, too.
Yeah. And they also got Jose Ramirez.
They have a very good team, and they have one of my favorite managers, Terry Francona.
Yeah, I think that also helps them a lot.
I can see it. Absolutely. I mean, I think the American League just the last couple of years has just been really brutal.
Well, I feel like the Indians, similar to the Nationals last year, just that sense of urgency, like, hey, like, we need to get over the top. Like, I think they're going to bring their A game this year.
Yeah.
However, I have the young team, the Atlanta Braves, winning it all next year.
More heartbreak in Cleveland. It just never ends.
Well, there's a lot of heartbreak in Atlanta, too. So.
Oh, yeah. But at least they won a World Series, in the last few decades.
Yeah, they're one championship ever.
Yeah.
But, I have the Braves winning it all because I think they have of all the teams in baseball, they probably have the best young core. And since
Ronald Acuna.
And I just think as long as they stay healthy, they're gonna do very good. And them being so young, that's going to propel them through the playoffs.
It is kind of a bummer, though, they're not going to have Felix Hernandez, King Felix. I mean, I know he is really, he's not the same ace that he was several years ago, but I still would have liked to have seen him in that rotation with those younger guys.
Yeah.
But I think they'll overcome it. I think they'll for sure be a playoff team. I don't see them missing the playoffs unless they get off of just an awful start. Which could happen. It's baseball. But, yeah, I'm right there. I actually almost picked the Braves to go to the World Series. If it's not the Brewers, I could definitely see the Braves. Yes, the Dodgers could definitely be there. But the Dodgers, I remember last year they got off to a really rough start.
Yeah.
And we were even talking like, oh, is it finally over with? Like they're not going to rule the NL West anymore. Then, of course, they had a tremendous second half and did what they usually do. Choke in the playoffs.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of attention on them because they can trade for Mookie Betts. Who's
Right.
one of the best players in baseball. And, it would have been funny if, the season was canceled, but
Well, yeah, we were talking about that. There was a small part of us, very small part of us, that was like, well, if they do cancel the season, I will be happy in the aspect that the Dodgers will not get to have Mookie Betts play for them because he's going to test the waters no matter what this offseason. I don't think he's just going to automatically re-sign with the Dodgers. This is really just a one-year rental.
Yeah.
More than likely. So that would have been hilarious if they would have just traded for him, gave him a bunch of prospects, and then he never ends up even playing for them.
I would say, on the topic of the National League West, I do think the Arizona Diamondbacks actually have a shot at it.
Yeah, and they were a surprise team last year, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they really performed completely, far and away above what we were expecting.
They signed Madison Bumgarner. So
Matt Bum.
They also traded for Starling Marte.
Yeah, who I've always really liked from the Pirates.
The Padres almost got him, but of course they didn't pull the trigger.
They did get Trent Grisham from the Brewers, who I'm kind of high on.
Yeah, but I think the Diamondbacks are a team to watch for as far as a surprise team as well.
And they always give our Padres a lot of trouble. So, and of course that's who we're playing right out of the gate. So
those D-bags.
Yeah, that's why we call them the D-bags. They're just a pain in our side. So it should be interesting, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with the 60-game schedule, and hopefully, we'll have something to cheer about with their lovable Padres. But bottom line, baseball is back, and so is the NBA. So next time we will be discussing the NBA and what that's going to be looking like. The restart. They're going to be playing, 10 regular season games and then jump right into the playoffs. So that's going to be even more exciting because you're going to kind of finish off what they started there.
Yeah.
And we got to see if our Los Angeles Lakers can kind of reclaim that magic carpet ride they were on before the lockdown. So it's going to be interesting. So we'll get into the NBA next time. Again, like and subscribe us. We would appreciate any support out there. And until next time, I'm Ryan Willis.
And I'm Matt Willis.
Goodbye. And screw you, Podbean.